Hi everybody, welcome back. I just thought I'd basically do a little video today. Obviously, I said I'd keep an eye on sort of what we've been doing and how we're getting on with the cars. So, out of the bunch of the ones that we've got, we've decided to keep the little Phase 1, which is the one with the cage in. The reason we've decided to keep that is for the simple fact that it's pretty much ready to go. I mean, we would build a track car, we would put a roll cage in it, we'd put fancy suspension on there, we'd do engine mods, we'd map it, we'd fit tyres, fancy brakes, probably uprated arbs. And this one, to be fair, is already there. It's a car that's been used by Chi, the previous owner, on multiple track days. Even managed to speak to the previous owner before Chi, obviously, who spent, again, quite a lot of money on the car. So we're just plodding on with that. So we're pretty into it now. We're kind of half a day in, and there's a lot to do. So what we started doing is, which I'll show you in just a second, is we've basically sanded out the shell. Obviously, it's been stud. The shell's quite a good, solid shell. There's no rot in there. But obviously, we've got a little bit of surface rust where it's kind of ate in where it's been sat. So we've just got the little drill with a wire wheel. We're just prepping the shell out, and then we're going to give it a bit of a paint. So wheel silver inside. It's pretty silver. Pretty close to the shade that was already on there. So we're going to give that a shot. Tidy the inside the shell up. It was also covered in plasti dip as well, which is an absolute nightmare. I think Chi, the previous owner, plasti dipped the car about 3 or 4 years ago. He got most of it off because he decided he didn't like it. But the bit that's inside the trims and around the edge of the bumpers has proven to be a bit of a pain. It's quite solid. It's basically dried like plaster, so we find it difficult to get off. So we've took all the door trims off, and we're just going to sand all the door trims down, give them another lick of paint. Again, this won't be nothing fancy. Like, this car's obviously a budget car, so we're going to try and keep it cheap and make a good little competitive car out of it. As in the previous videos, it's already got a set of cams in there. It's mapped. It's got H&R suspension. It's got PMS uprated front and rear anti-roll bars. It's a pretty well sorted car. Obviously 6-point cage, which is a cup cage. We're not really happy with the welds. We're going to have to tidy the welds up. They're a bit shitty, so we've got a little bit to do with that. So I'll show you the car and what it's looking like now, and obviously how we're getting on with it. As you can see, to be fair, I'm pretty happy with the way it's looking already. I mean, you can see, obviously, we've got the plastic dip from in between the bumper edges there, in between the windows. We've given the windows a little bit of a clean up. There's still a bit to do with those. But you can see, obviously, how clean the car's starting to look from what it looked like when we picked it up. Just the door trims off's obviously made a massive difference. So it's starting to look well. Obviously, there's the door trims. You can see the plastic dip's kind of, it's like a, I don't know, it's weird. There's an half bit in though. You can feel it. Obviously, it's bit into lacquer on the actual trim itself, so we might need to repaint them possibly. But again, it'll be a simple job. It won't be nothing fancy, just to kind of make it look right on the eye. Inside the rear of it, as you can see, I've got crap all over. So you can see, obviously, the shell is just literally surface. There's nothing bad, just a bit of bubbling in the paint. So we've got the wire wheel. I'm just starting to work my way through that and kind of flat it down so we can make it look presentable. Obviously, as I said to you, the welds on the cage aren't great, so we're going to have to address that at some point. Obviously, at the end of the day, the whole point of a roll cage, I mean, look at that. The whole point of a cage is obviously to be safe. Unless we sort that out, obviously it won't do its job. It will to a certain extent, but obviously we need to be safe, otherwise there's no point in having it in there. So this today, obviously we're going to paint the inside the shell, as we said. It should look a bit more presentable in here and a little bit nicer. Obviously got a battery box in the back, we're going to tidy that up as well. In the front, we haven't really done much apart from give it a little bit of a tidy and clean up. Obviously the clocks are dusty now off where I've been prepping it inside, but you kind of get the idea. There's our tyres, and we've decided to go with it's actually a budget tyre. You might be surprised to see this. Normally we use like an ER1 or a 88R or a 888, but these here are getting really good reviews, and honestly the peanuts. So these are Accelera 651 Sports semi-slicks. Believe it or not, 195 50/15 in these tyres here. They cost us 43 quid each, so it's absolutely peanuts. Obviously, as you can see, we've got aero catchers. We've got 2 sets of these. The bonnet catchers on these Clios are prone to fail, which we don't want when we're doing 100, 120 mile an hour around the track. So we're going to put these aero catchers in the front of the bonnet. There's a matching set in there, and they're going to go in the boot. We're going to chop all the boot lock and everything out, because these are lockable anyway, and also aero catch the boot. So at the front, as you can see, the headlights are looking quite nice now. Again, they were quite dim. I've set away with some sandpaper. If you want to know about headlights, it's pretty straightforward. I started off with an 800 then 1,000, 1,200, then 1,500. Just wet sanded them down, and then obviously just used the machine polisher with a bit of cutting compound to bring them back up. So they've come up quite nice. So you've got a new radiator. Well, it was new when it was about 4 or 5 years ago, but engine bay, obviously, as you can see, we've got obviously decent quality top mounts on there, fully adjustable to get a decent setup for the track. A little intake. Engine bay is looking a little bit scabby, but we'll get to that. So we've basically bought new plugs, which I've already put in this morning, new aux belt on these Clios. If you know enough about them, the aux belt can be a bit of a nightmare. These need changing every 3 years. If the aux belt let go, there's 9 times out of 10 it'll wrap around the timing belt and snap the timing belt. It's a common thing on these Clios, so always be aware of that. So yeah, I think we're making good headway with it, and the car is starting to look a bonny little car again, so we are getting there. I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. We have booked a track day as well, so we booked into Croft on the 9th of March, and obviously we're going to take this, so we're just kind of plodding on, trying to get stuff ready. Prep wise for us to, obviously this is just a little one to get the car ready. Obviously we've got brand new antifreeze, so we're going to drop the coolant out, drop the oil out, new filter. Again, as I was saying to you, obviously new aux belt, very important with these, that you change the aux belt if it hasn't been done for a while, because it's the easiest way to take the timing belt out with it. We are going to inspect the timing belt. Apparently it was done before, it was stood up a couple of years ago, and see what kind of condition the timing belt's in. The diffuser's not making any noises. Normally the diffusers, when they get tired, they make like a loud mechanical whirring. Ours seems pretty fit, so we're going to have a look at the condition of the belt, and we might just chuck a timing belt on there for the time being, just in terms of safety. Parts as well, we believe in supporting your local businesses, so obviously our local provider in the Peterlee area is K&S Automotive, and believe it or not, I actually spent time with K&S with work experience about, well, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but it was a long time ago now. Johnny works in there, I'm still quite friendly with him, so yeah, keep your businesses local. K&S and Peterlee are good for all these bits. Just on with a few bits of door strips, so we're just going to satin black these. Again, finish will be okay, but it will not be nothing spectacular, but it should sort the look of the car out. The badges, obviously all the plastic dips gone off the rear now, getting rid of that. Rub the badges down, satin black the badges as well, so it's starting to come on now. Day 2 of the little track car. We're just on with it there now, so today we just basically took the wheels off. As you can see, the wheels are an absolute mess of obviously where they've been stood, and it's cleaned the brake dust off. The tyres, although good quality, they're pretty much knackered, to be fair. If you look at them, the treads look alright, but they're starting to crack. You see there's little cracks and stuff in there, so we're not going to use them. They're like plastic, they've gone off anyway, so them's coming off. Just going to try and clean the wheels up, get them right. Again, the discs on something that's been stood quite a while, we're just going to try and clean these up. They're not lipped, so I'm guessing they haven't been put on long before the car was actually stood. Calipers are going to get a little bit of attention, a little bit of painting away a wheel down, I think. And obviously the pads in there, actually I've been out and drove the car, the pads are really good, but again, they're just old. Suspension doesn't look too bad, just needs a clean up. But generally, for the amount of time it's been stood, we're pretty happy with it. Obviously a little bit more inspection at what we found, so the CV boots and everything seem to be, although rusty, they seem to be in good nick. The bushes and everything look okay. Obviously we've got a nice stud and nut conversion. And a little bonus, obviously we've got Goodridge braided lines there as well. The lines are actually back and front, so we're happy about that. It's something we were going to have to buy. Same with the back. These, when I drove the car yesterday, you can feel the back brakes starting to drag on, so we're going to strip these down today and address these and see what we can do with them.
White line.
The underside of it, as you can see, we've got a lovely little white line rear arb there as well, and it looks like the rear axle bushes are new too, so I think, to be fair, I think we've getting away pretty lightly. We've got some really good bits on this car, so we're happy at the minute. Just having a little go at the wheels now, trying to get them right. They're like a flat grey. I'd like to keep them if I can, and just trying to get the dirt and the acid off them. Just starting to bite in there now, so should take them off. This is what we're using. Auto Bright Direct. I'm sure if you use Auto Bright products, obviously they're as good as anything, so fingers crossed we can get these wheels back and have them looking nice again. That's the inside of the shell, fully painted out now. Obviously it's getting dusty already, but you get the idea. Give the cage a little lick over as well. Painted in the front. So these are all just light cosmetics, obviously just to make it look a little bit better, but obviously it looks a different car now, so... So that's it for now. That pretty much concludes the little rebuild of the Phase 1. I mean, in terms of rebuild, obviously we haven't fully rebuilt it, but we've kind of freshened it up and we're hoping that the car does us well. With the spec that's on the car and the bits that obviously we've looked at, we think it should be a little bit of a weapon, to be fair. It should be really, really good, especially around Croft. I mean, Croft flows quite well. I mean, it does favour the big, powerful cars. There is a few decent-sized straights. But if we can keep the little car pinned and pretty much flat out, it should be a force to be reckoned with. It should go really well. So we're meeting Dan and them, as I mentioned on the video, on the 9th of March down at Croft. Dan's got a little 197. Again, that's a track car, so we're just going to have a little bit of a battle. We were going to take the new car, which is the RS250 Meg. And obviously Dan's BM's away down at Mr. Vanos at the moment, which is quite a renowned BM guy who rebuilds engines and basically makes the cars right. So his is getting rod bearings in and a few other bits. So they will probably feature at a later date. But yeah, we're just going to keep it real with this one and stick with the Clios and see how we go with them. But it should be a good battle. We've got another GoPro, so that'll go in the Clio, so you'll see footage from both cars, and we'll see how the day goes and how it pans out.